Supreme Court greenlights deportations to South Sudan. Essential information revealed. In a significant ruling, the Supreme Court has permitted the Trump administration to relocate 8 men who had been held at a U.S. military base in Djibouti for several weeks to a conflict-stricken South Sudan, a nation where nearly none of them have personal connections. The majority of these men originate from nations such as Vietnam, South Korea, Mexico, Laos, Cuba, and Myanmar, with only one hailing from South Sudan itself. This court decision, issued on Thursday, followed a previous judgment by the court's conservative majority. They determined immigration authorities could expeditiously deport individuals to countries with which they have no established connections. This ruling halted a previous decision by a district judge, which had mandated that immigrants facing deportation to third countries must first be given a chance to prove they would be at risk of torture, persecution, or death there. Attorney Trina Romuto, representing the 8 men and also the executive director of the National Deport Litigation Alliance, highlighted the grave risks these men might face, including the probability of being detained immediately upon arrival. However, 2 justices from the court's liberal wing, Sonia Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson, dissented strongly. They argued that the ruling unfairly advantaged the government. What the government is effectively arranging is the deportation of these 8 non-citizens, who were wrongfully expelled from the U.S. to South Sudan, where they'll be handed over to local authorities without considering their chances of facing torture or death, asserted Sotomayor. This order signifies one clear point: other litigants must follow the rules, while the administration has direct access to the Supreme Court. The Trump administration has been negotiating with various countries to accept deportees that can't be quickly returned to their native lands. The 8 men awaiting deportation to South Sudan had already completed or were near the completion of their prison sentences for serious crimes, with orders of removal directing them to exit the U.S. Some of them, like Tuan Tan Phan, who moved to the U.S. from Vietnam as a child and was convicted of manslaughter during an 18-year-old gang altercation, had made plans for an eventual return to his homeland after his sentence expiration. Unexpectedly, the U.S. government shifted gears and informed the men they would be deported to South Sudan instead of South Africa. When they resisted by refusing to consent to deportation documents, their case reached District Judge Brian B. Have in Michigan, Judge Murphy of Massachusetts. Judge Murphy ruled that the government must issue written notice to any immigrant facing deportation to a third country and provide them a chance to assert a reasonable fear of torture. After this, the U.S. government told the men they were headed to South Sudan, but failed to inform Judge Murphy about their location or the exact final destination. Eventually, their flight landed at Camp Lemonnier, a U.S. military installation in Djibouti. During this time, Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE agents spent 12-hour shifts guarding the detainees. An official described the concerning health conditions, such as illnesses among detainees and agents, inadequate medical care, malaria risks, and concerns about potential attacks from militants in neighboring Yemen. In May, the Trump administration requested the Supreme Court's help to permit the deportation. They continued to seek arrangements with multiple nations to accommodate immigrants if their home countries were not immediately accessible. Your thoughts? Do you think the Supreme Court's decision prioritizes expediency over humanitarian considerations? Share your views below.